Who are you as a person? And that is hard for people to think about. And so, yeah, if you're trying to go through a career exercise with them where they have to stop and think about what brings you joy, that's hard for some people. And so,
not just some people, humans, there's a negativity bias that's very real in a scary world where we all have these propaganda boxes that we carry around in our pockets that push us scary things all day long.
And so when you're living in that world, how can you figure out what brings you joy? Who are you at your core? Because if you can figure that out, you're going to be able to find a career you're more aligned with. It's all about alignment, right?
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our little space where we connect, collaborate, and co-create. I'm Ed.
And I'm Paul, and this is the Thought Partners podcast. And today, Ed and I are welcoming Dr. Kathleen Stone joining us for our conversation today. I'm very excited to see you, Kathy, and it's a joy to have you on our podcast. Thank you for taking a little bit of time out.
Yeah, sure. And I was laughing because one, the formality of saying doctor, and I think you said Kathleen, Dr. Kathleen Stone.
I did. It just flowed right out.
It cracks me up when I hear people say that. So got my doctorate a little bit, later in life. And the only person in my world who ever calls me Dr. anything is my cousin's little daughter, who calls me Dr. Kathy. Professionally, I hardly ever hear doctor. And then the other funny part to this is that you introduced me as Kathleen, but then said Kathy, right? So you'll see that, I even will write my name out as Kathleen. I always write my full name out on anything, emails, paperwork, whatever. I'm always Kathleen. But I would say that half of the people in my life know me as Kathy, and half of the people in my life know me as Kathleen. And it changed. And I'm at this point in life where I don't know how to introduce myself. I have to pause and think, oh, do you know me as Kathy or Kathleen? And do I care which one you use? Nope, not at all.
So people that work with you showcase this easygoing connection with you. That's what Paul was highlighting.
Yes. I tend to form close relationships with people that I work with. It is, people are the center to everything I do in whatever role I'm in, whatever job I'm at. It's always about the people that you work with in so many ways, right? The people are what drive the organization forward, and it's good for the company. But also, these are the people that you spend often more time with than you spend with your family. And so I've always been very much the type of person that builds strong connections to the people I work with. Especially anybody who at some point reports to me. And because of that, I have, whether they reported to me or did not, right? I tend to have certain people that I just stay connected with over time from those relationships as well. So Ed is one of those people, right? He worked with me, worked for me at one point, I think.
For like 6 days.
And then
it was a very odd time.
Yeah. But we stayed connected because of that, right? And the interesting thing that I have found in my life, and probably has hit me more recently, and say in the last couple of years, is that I have a lot of people who I've worked with before who reach out to me very frequently. Even if we're not talking anymore, they'll still reach out to me for like career advice. What should I do about this? What should I do about that? So that's just, so that's where you're getting this thing with me and Ed, right? We work together. We work closely together.
And you intentionally manifest that. Can you say more about that and talk about?
I don't know that I do. I don't know that I do. I don't know that it's intentional. I think it's just who I am. It's more authentic than that, right? I don't sit out to go, hey, I'm going to create these really great connections with people. It's just, it's that, I think it's because of that part of me that I explained, where the philosophy I have around that it's the people that are important in the organization. And I try to connect with those people. It just makes sense to me. So I don't know that it's something, but I don't like plan on it, so to speak. I think I'm just a normal person who talks to people and listens to people.
Well,
Thank you.
it all just sounds so straightforward and simple. Like, and like even just to say, like, it's just normal. It's just, you're just nice to people. And yet I hear so many stories. I hear so many accounts from a lot of folks who talk about things like corporate PTSD, and they talk about the hustle of it all and the lack of connection in such an interconnected world. And I don't hear a lot of situations, Kathy, where people are staying in touch with people that they work with. Because when they work together, it was for the purpose of this task or this job. And that was the context in which they had a relationship. And yet there's something else. I think there's something a little bit more extraordinary than normal that happens. And I'm trying to understand that a little bit, that maintains connections and makes it different.
I mean, that's a really great question. I don't know that I have the answer though, right? But maybe that's part of it. Actually, let me go with that. So I'm the last person that will tell you that I'm perfect, I will never tell you that I'm an expert at anything. Right. So I don't, I don't like that term even. I'm, I have flaws. I make mistakes. I don't always do or say the right thing. And that's okay. I'm not going to be perfect all the time. So when I'm working with other people, I don't expect that they're always going to be perfect all the time. And I try to help them when I see that they run into a challenge, or if I see that there's something that they're doing that might hold them back, I will share that. Now, sometimes some people don't want to hear that. They've
I
never
would
heard
imagine
that
there's a lot of
before. They
people.
don't want to
Yeah.
hear it. And those people aren't going to reach back out to me later, right? But I try to do it in a way that is not going to make them feel bad. And and hope that they take it as something as a growing experience, because that's how I take things. I remember my very first job in higher ed and writing an email, and I made the most egregious error you could ever imagine. And Ed is going to go, "You did what?" Without
Did
thinking.
did you not use the Oxford comma?
Close. I used the wrong your. I had a lovely human who pulled me aside and called it out and said to me, you got to be really careful now that you're here. You can't do that. Because she knew the type of people that would be reading it.
Yeah.
And I thanked her. And from that day forward, you better believe that I overcheck every email I send. I will never forget that, though. So I appreciate when people call me out as well, or that give me feedback, positive, negative, doesn't matter. I am not perfect. Another example, same place. I remember first time as a new leader, I had this really horrible, bad habit, and I still will check myself on this one sometimes, of talking over people, because I'm that person that's thinking, you're thinking too fast in your own head, and you're afraid you're going to forget something, and you would just spit it out, right?
I think that's really along the lines of where I was having issues was just pop and there goes, and it was like not taking the time to step back and give people room.
I had somebody who was reporting to me at the time who I did that to, and he got very angry and upset with me and spoke to me about it. And after that, I was very, very careful and cautious. And again, going back to, this is a behavior I need to change. So from, day one of being a leader, I immediately was called out for something and then have worked to try to not do that again, because I don't want people feeling the way I made that person feel.
And how's that going for you? Have you ever used the wrong "your" since then?
Not in emails.
It's a good space to be.
I will say, when I'm typing really fast and have my mind's on a lot of different things, I might have an instant message to somebody go that I have to then, go edit really quick. I'll catch it as soon as I do something like that. But my typos in my Teams messages is pretty wild.
That's just autocorrect. It's not your fault.
No, it's not auto-correct. That's me not being able to, type well and thinking too fast and going too quickly.
That was the grace that we provided, and you just didn't take the path.
No, I'm not going to take it. Because I own it, right? I know it's a thing that I do.
I'm curious, what's the undercurrent? What's the drive? And how does that show up in your work?
Self-reflection is what it comes down to, right? It's a very methodical steps to get you to think about where you've been, where you're going, where do you want to be, that sort of stuff. Just
my gosh, that's so hard, though.
Yeah, it's really hard work. It's really hard work to think about that. It's not a joke.
Yeah. And I was just actually funny. I was speaking of podcasts and wanting to put in plugs of franchises. Dan Harris has an excellent podcast called 10% Happier with Dan Harris. I don't know if you've ever heard of it or listened to it or know anything about it, but it's one of my favorite ones. And I was just listening to him talking about a study he was doing where he had to abandon the study because it was about self-reflection, and everybody stopped doing it. They had nothing to study at the end. And when he interviewed them afterwards and said, why didn't you do it? They not only said they didn't have time, they said it was a waste of time. And I'm really curious what you think about it.
Because I do think that some people think that. I think they think that here's one of the things that I think I may have talked about in the LinkedIn stuff too that's connected. Don't remember, not at this point anyways. But career identity, who you are as a person, and how is that connected to the work you do? Is your work, when somebody asks you who you are, do you start by describing what your career is? Do you say that, I do this, I'm XYZ? Most people, they do, because it's easy. It's really easy.
It's pretty natural to say like what your job is, right? Like,
that's
I'm a business owner. I'm an entrepreneur. I am a learning and development professional. I'm a leadership coach. Like what you do, yeah.
But who are
What's the
you without
alternative,
all of that?
Kathy?
Who are you without all of that, right? Who are you as a person? And that is hard for people to think about. And so, yeah, if you're trying to go through a career exercise with them where they have to stop and think about what brings you joy, that's hard for some people. And so,
Not just some
I,
people, humans. There's a negativity bias that's very real in a
yeah.
scary world where we all have these propaganda boxes that we carry around in our pockets that push us scary things all day long.
And so, when you're living in that world, how can you figure out what brings you joy? Who are you at your core? Because if you can figure that out, you're going to be able to find a career you're more aligned with. It's all about alignment, right? If you're doing something that you do not like to do because it goes against who you are as a person, you're going to be miserable. You're going to be always looking for another job. You're going to be stressed, tensed. There's a lot of things that if you can find that alignment of doing, it's not a, and I'm going to be really clear about this too. It's not about finding your passion. That's not it. It's about finding something that's aligned to the type of person you are, that's going to be a good career path for you based off of who you are as a person. You don't have to be, oh, I'm really passionate about, I don't know, bees. I have no idea why that came into my I need to do a job that's going to be working with bees. That's not what it's about. Because maybe the job working with bees is not a good fit for you because you got to be wearing that beekeeper thing all the time and you're going to get hot and sweaty and you don't want to be outside and like, so you got to stop to think about like, well, what are the things, what what are the things that do matter to me, right? What are the things that are important to me? What are my values? Who am I as a person? Try to align your work with those things. It doesn't have to be a passion project. It just has to work with who you are.
So then that begs the question, Kathy, what brings you joy?
I'm happy to share that. So the one thing that you didn't ask me is who are you at the beginning of this call? Because I will not describe myself in work terms
By your work.
ever. No. What brings me joy? Oh gosh. I am a little bit of a fandom geek. So you may or may not be aware, but MegaCon is coming up this weekend, which is a giant comic convention, right? I will be there. I will be cosplaying as some folks from Harry Potter world and Doctor Who. That's my other big fandom, Ed, if you were not aware. Um, so
I can only bring so many to the table.
I have quite a few fandoms. I've been listening to the whole Firefly buzz this past week. If you've seen that, you may not have. Old show, everybody loved it. They've been trying to get it to come back for years. Anyways, it sounds like they want to try to do an animated version. So anyway, the fandom is on fire right now around Firefly. I love that sort of stuff, right? Battlestar Galactica, um, anything. I have Supernatural, Smallville, some of the older shows that I follow, and if you were able to see my whole office space, you would see on the wall uh, autographs from them and pictures with them and fun things like that, right? So I have all sorts of geeky stuff like that. That brings me joy, Paul. You know what else brings me joy? It's going to sound cliche, but I've been married 32 years. I have two children, lovely, beautiful, wonderful children who have gone out into the world and made a life for themselves. One is 30, the other one's 25. Any moment that I get to spend with them is amazing. Absolutely amazing. That brings me joy. So, my family, my husband, my kids, my friends, my weird fandom things that I get into, anything sci-fi, that kind of stuff. Love it. Just love it. It's my that's my oddball thing. Um, and honestly, being in the warm weather after living most of my life in the far reaches, almost Canada, of New York, uh, I moved to warmer weather, and I love every minute of that. So just being able to do the small things, go sit outside by the pool.
Join the Rumble. The Thought Partners podcast is now on Substack. Head over to substack.com at Thought Partners Podcast or scan the QR code on screen. This is your chance to interact with the show, complete some of the great exercises we design in real time, and post your thoughts about what upcoming episodes could look like. At the intersection of creativity and career, it's the Thought Partners podcast. Many people don't make a change like moving from New York to Florida until they are retired and they have nothing else to do except for whatever it is that they are going to do and retire.
Yeah.
You did not.
No, I took a leap. And I didn't even get a chance to talk about my theme park fandom stuff. So yeah, Disney, Universal, I love the parks. Anyway, I had been to this area quite a bit for usually work reasons, right? Conferences, different meetings, different things would come up. And I would get off the plane, and where everybody else gets off and they're like, oh my gosh, I can't breathe. I would get off and go, oh, it just felt like home, and it just felt so good for me. I actually do have those weird things where your fingers would turn blue from the cold and stuff. I've always had a hard time with the cold growing up as a kid, it's constantly. And so I always just felt this sense of relief when I'd get off the plane. And so it's basically, as soon as my daughter, when my youngest one, graduated high school, I didn't want to pull her out in school. So I did keep the kids in school till they graduated. There wasn't a whole lot else keeping us there at the time. We had a house and stuff like that, but I was lucky at the time to be working a remote job. And this could be a whole nother conversation. But I took care of my parents until they both passed away. So they lived with us for about a year and a half. They both had major health issues. So caregiver role. And something just clicked in my brain after all of that, right? You get this life is too short. I've spent most of my life taking care of other people. It's time to do something that I want to do. And I said, we're going to move to Florida. And so I put the house on the market. It literally went in like 2 days, which was much faster than I anticipated.
You didn't have time to cancel it.
Yeah, no, this was like May or something. I can't remember. I think it was May. And then my daughter graduated high school towards the end of June, and we moved that next week. And that July 1st, we were living in Florida. We moved with both kids because my son had graduated college, but he hadn't flown the nest quite yet. So we had both kids, 2 dogs, 2 cats. We loaded up a U-Haul. Actually, no, we did the U-Haul boxes. We loaded up the van We drove 2 cars, and we drove to Florida and started a life here. My husband had to find another job because he wasn't remote, but I took the plunge. It was scary. We didn't know the area. We didn't. I did have one relative down here, but I wasn't really particularly close to her at the time. We are now, but we were not close then. So it was a scary kind of jump to do that. Got here July 1st. I scheduled to get our driver's licenses on July 2nd or 3rd. It was really close, so that I could go get our Disney passes right away. And part of
Priorities.
that, yeah, well, and
Priorities.
seriously, part of that, so part of why, I have this, I just have a different outlook now. And a lot of it, I will say, was from the experience with my parents. It's just that you just look at things differently after you go through something like that. It's kind of brought me to where I am today, which is I still don't have all the answers for myself. And there's so many fun things like to look forward to. Like I look forward to where we live, and we have some new roads being built that I'm looking forward to. We're redoing our bathroom, and it's going to be Harry Potter influenced. I'm excited about that. I will share pictures at some point. Think Airbnb someday, right? My house is going to look like an Airbnb, but I'm going to live in it. Because why not? Well, isn't that fun? Isn't that the whole point in life, to do the things that you enjoy and to have things that make you happy? Like, so that's what I want to do. I'm doing something fun this year as well, where I am doing a 26 and 26 challenge. So it's 26 things in 2026 that I'm going to do that are new for me, that I've not done. It might be something I've wanted to do, or maybe just something that I hadn't even thought of. And the way you do the 26 is the letters of the alphabet, by the way. So you pick something for each letter of the alphabet to do. And one of the things that I decided to do with that was for the letter V, I'm vlogging it. So if anybody wants to see the ridiculous things that I do on YouTube, it's Kathleen Living Life. And you will see me just doing little short, really horribly done. They're nothing fancy, but little short reels, basically, of whatever that particular letter was that I did. Because it's fun, right? And it's something different in life. And you should do that and put yourself out there.
I love that. I think that's going to be a great plug for you to work in, Ed. Kathleen Living Life on YouTube, along with the other IPs that we called out throughout the show today for our listeners. Kathy, you said something a little bit ago that has been staying with me, and so I need to I can't just leave it hanging there in my head. So I've got to pull on that thread.
Paul does not like unresolved strings.
Go for it.
You said that we didn't start out with who are you? And we didn't prepare this big long bio of Dr. Kathleen Stone or K Stone or Kathy or whatever you go by, whatever your cosplay.
Stone Party.
The Stone Party.
Right.
And I am curious because what you mentioned is that you do not identify by the work that you do. Even though you talked about how your relationships with people are often built off of the fact that we spend more time with people at work sometimes than we do with our loved ones and our family and our friends and these fun things that you're talking about. Because so it's very real that we have these relationships. And so I do want to ask and give you the opportunity to share. Who are you? And before I do that, though, I want to note some of the things that I've been thinking as I've been listening, which are wise. And I don't know if you'll identify as wise, but I view you as wise because of your uncertainty. I view you as wise because you are wary of strict certainty. And you have humility while willing to give advice. Because I know that there's a lot of stress that I've heard from folks between like the advice monster and giving advice, how that goes against humility. And I think that's like, it's always a little mashup of a little bit of everything, right? And fun and nerdy also came up for me. But transformational was a big one for me. So those are some of the things that have come up through our conversation that I have sort of jotted down as I was noticing and listening to you. But who are you?
It's a good question. Usually when somebody asks me that now, today, not years ago, but today, it's going to be that I'm a woman who's in her 50s with an empty nest, right? Who's trying to have fun in life. That's like the core of who I am today, right? I try to be an authentic person. I don't like people that feel fake, so I tend to not try to feel fake. um, then I actually do have a career. Like I'm not gonna avoid it, Paul, right? I'm not gonna say I don't have a career. It's just not what I lead with anymore, right? So as you started it off calling me Dr. Kathleen Stone. Well, that's because I, for some unknown reason, I had a love of learning. And I went to college. I went to college as an adult learner when I had the little kids and all of that good stuff. And I got an associate's degree, and then I got a bachelor's degree. And then I thought, oh, that was interesting. I'm going to get a master's degree. And then I ended up teaching. I ended up getting full-time jobs in a workforce development type role. And then I got another full-time job doing instructional design and online courses for science courses because my bachelor's degree is in geology, which usually confuses people when I tell them that. So, stone, rocks, geology, there's the connection, okay? I love
Don't go any
science.
deeper.
There goes the sci. Now you can also see the sci-fi part, right? I like the science, and then it's more fun when you throw the fi on. Anyways, so I went and got all these degrees, and then ended up, as I was moving up my career, I was getting more degrees to go along with it. It kind of all flowed together, right? You give yourself you career-wise, I would always try to position myself so that my career would advance. So a lot of positioning that I did early on. I've kind of jumped off that mindset now, but back then it was, well, if I do this, it's going to give me these XY skills that I don't have that will lead me to another level. We could have a whole other conversation around professional development and how do you do that. But I kept the degrees going along the side as the jobs kept moving up. So eventually I got my doctorate. So I have a doctorate in basically adult learning. And then went back and got my MBA. And then went back and I got a master's certificate recently in AI for business optimization. So I have a mix of education and business background, basically. And I worked most of my career in the higher education space. Before that, I worked as like accounting clerks and accounts payable. I did a lot of accounting type jobs. So numbers, data, it's all my thing. I taught math and geology. And did the higher education thing then once I had all the degrees done. and then hit a certain point in higher education where I couldn't, this is where life changed for me. I couldn't see my next step. So all my life, progression wise, was the next degree, the next role, move up, do this, do that. I hit a point where my next step was not a job I wanted. And so I was seeing a dead end finally, if that makes any sense. And so I got off. I got off and I do similar work, but in a nonprofit mental health space. So, which felt and like that's something that is a more of an alignment with who I am as a person. But to my point earlier, my life's, I got a lot more years of working before I can retire. I don't know what my next step is. And you know what? It's okay. It's okay if I don't. And that's a kind of message I want to make sure people understand. It's okay if you don't know what your next step is. Maybe there's not a next step for me. Maybe this is this is it for now, right? And that's okay too. Or maybe there is something. I don't know. Don't know right now.
So I joked earlier and I said that the picture of you that I have, one of the components is the unconventional, conventional paths. And I think through the different stories that you've told today, through your fandoms, through the very small amount that we touched on in terms of the theme parks, and your look for the why, your journey into the self-awareness sphere, all of this does all tie in so well together in terms of telling the story of how you are here with us today versus where those next steps may be versus you starting a YouTube channel, you branching out and doing the things that just they pop on your radar and you're like, yeah, I'm going to go get that degree because that sounds like a good place to be. Yeah, I'm going to start a YouTube channel because that's going to be fun. And everything is driven by you either searching for or being happy with the why that you found. And that to me ties every single bit of all of these things that you said, these random fandoms, but they're not. They're just connected to the why and the centering that you've done. And I think walking away from this conversation shortly, like we will be doing, I'm thinking that that's the core message here that I'm walking away from is you may not have all the answers, but that shouldn't stop you from trying to find them. What do you think about that?
I'm going to pull a Paul. I'm going to say yes and.
Ooh, Paul, yes and.
Yes!
Yes, that is a good takeaway, Ed. And I would say that you don't have to know the why forever, meaning the why is going to change. And that's okay too. You might know this is my why today or for this year or whatever, but also know that that's going to shift. You can't, that's why the career part was so hard for people to do that kind of introspection, because guess what? You need to do it a lot. You change as a person. Everything you do, every people you come across and interact with is going to change you. Your life experiences are going to change you. And so what worked for me those years ago that I described doesn't work for me today. And so my why changed. And that's okay.
Kathy, it has been a pleasure having you join us here in our Thought Partners arena. As Paul coined the phrase long ago now, in season 1, this is season 2, which if you would have asked Paul and I back in August, September, if we would make it through season 1 even, we wouldn't be probably saying, hey, season 2, we're going to be doing this.
Yeah.
We hit record. So that definitely goes with the YouTube channel, the content creator, the fandom, all the things. When you just do the thing that drives you, you end up in a good spot. Imagine that. So thank you for joining us.
Yes. Go ahead.
What'd you say?
I was going to say, and whatever it is, that's okay.
And it is. It is okay. It is okay. Whether you decide to do it or you don't. But I would encourage people to take that little bit of a chance.
And that is a perfect place to be in terms of wrapping up today. Find that instance of self-reflection, that self-awareness that people are so difficult to try and find. It's so difficult to walk up that hill sometimes or look in that mirror. That is something that I'm taking away. I'm also taking away that you're not going to have all the answers, and have some grace with others and have some grace with yourself.
It's so fun to see you again after so long, and I'm so excited to hear about all the fun things that you're doing. I am now going to check out MegaCon. I am super curious and interested. I'm going to be looking for your cosplay. I am going to check out Kathleen Living Life, which interesting to me that you called it Kathleen Living Life. That again
I typed my full name.
With the naming conventions. Yep. And who knows? Maybe, I don't know if you have all of your letters. Do you have something for all 26 of your letters already, or are you still looking for some of the letters?
The data side of me, yes, I have a spreadsheet with ideas. Now, it doesn't mean that's what's going to happen, because I'm not
flexibility.
Great, that planned, but I do have some.
If ever things. Kathleen Living Life ever I'm so thrilled that you intersected with us here on the Thought Partners podcast, which is one of the many things that I and Ed have going on. But if Kathleen Living Life, or even just Kathy, intersected at any time with one of our events, whether it was an estate sale, that would be a good E.
You're right, that would be.
I would welcome and be delighted at that, and I would love
good plug.
I would love that little intersection. I would love to interact with you again, see how it's going partway through the year.
Well, maybe and you still owe me a Velocicoaster ride.
There you go. I do owe you a Velocicoaster ride. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
For our listeners, I do want to remind you all to please take care of yourselves and each other.